once was a woman named Dee. She was a raft guide in Durango, Colorado on the Animas River. Dee had been a guide for the past 5 years and loved it more and more every day. One day, Dee got invited to the Salt River in Arizona. She was very excited to get the invitation, but was also very nervous. You see, Dee had been on many paddling adventures on other rivers, but had never actually guided on a different river. With a bit of trepidation, but overall enthusiasm, she packed her bags, her camping gear, and set off to the Salt River. On her way to the Salt, she thought about her experience on the Animas River, the friends she'd made, the incredible rapids, but she also thought about how it had become somewhat boring because she knew each of the lines so well. She was taught the lines in guide school and practiced them every day. The river stayed pretty much the same year after year. This made her a proficient guide on the Animas, but also a bit bored. She'd heard so much about the Salt and was eager to begin this new journey in her guiding career. When Dee got to the Salt, she immediately set up her camp. It was late, and her anticipation was exhausting. She fell into her sleeping bag and, without any warning, was fast asleep. In the morning, Dee woke up early and met the crew at the put in. She saw some of her guide friends from the Animas and other guides from different rafting companies. Everyone was the same here, swept up with enthusiasm and anticipation for the river in front of them. Since Dee had never guided the Salt, she was told to follow the point boat. She was also given instructions about the line through the first two rapids. After the second rapid, they would eddy out and scout the other rapids together. Dee listened intently and tried to visualize the rapid. Once in the boat, she was all alone but ready for the trip. As she approached the first rapid, she recalled what her friend had told her and tried her best to follow those directions. Dee did as told. She went left at the top of the rapid and through the first drop successfully and turned her boat river right. She was quickly moving to the right, but then she found herself heading right towards a sleeper rock. She went right over the sleeper rock and got stuck. She did what she had done in the past when she was stuck on a rock, and she bounced the boat, moved the gear around, and she was finally released from the rock's hold. As soon as she was free, she continued towards the right and finished a clean line. She was feeling a bit upset about getting stuck and felt embarrassed that she was the only one to get stuck, but she did not have any time to dwell on it because the second rapid was quickly approaching. Dee tried to think about what her friend had told her about the second rapid, but she just could not remember. This worried Dee a lot. She had no one to watch, and she could not remember what to do. Dee did what any guide would do. She went to the side of the riverbank, parked her boat, tied it up, and climbed up the rock to scout the rapid. When she got to the overlook, she was surprised to see a man standing there scouting the rapid himself. The man noticed Dee, introduced himself as Mick, and explained that he had fallen out of his kayak and did not have a way to get down. Dee invited Mick to join her in her boat to go through the rapid and find his kayak. Mick was grateful for the offering. Dee started looking at the rapid and began explaining her observations to describe what she saw. She then started making connections to the Animas River and their similar river features. Lastly, she explained what she was going to try based on figuring out the complexity of the river. She explained how she was mainly worried about the second drop. Mick asked her, "What makes you say that?" Dee quickly explained her prediction and then explained her thinking too. Dee was nervous but was ready to test out her theory. Her thinking was helping her learn how to read the river. Dee and Mick went through the first drop, then quickly took a left angle ferry to speed across to the left side. They avoided the big rock and were set up perfectly for the second drop. With that, Dee screamed, "All forward!" Mick did not miss a beat. He dug his paddle in the water, leaned all his weight forward, and paddled with all his might. Dee and Mick smashed the hole and made a huge splash of success. They had made it through the rapid. Once their peaked adrenaline settled, Mick asked Dee about how that rapid was different than the first one. Dee explained that for the first rapid, she was told what to do from another guide, and that she did not have to consider alternatives. On this trip with Mick, she was not just following instructions with complacency. She was reading the river, observing the movements, the obstacles, and the flow. She was creating her own meaning. She said, "While I was scouting the river, I understood that the white water wasn't an obstacle course, but a puzzle waiting to be unraveled. So I visualized a line through the rapid, my mind no longer a passive receiver of instructions, but really an active cartographer. I wasn't following a map, I was creating it." With that, Mick spotted his kayak, thanked her for her help, and he simply grinned and whispered, "Never stop uncovering the complexities of this world." And with that, he disappeared around the river's bend. Dee took that moment to reflect on her journey. She thought about how she had memorized the animus and had practiced it for years. But now, with this new experience of creating her own map of the river, by thinking through the river's complexity, she would be able to help others create their own maps of learning.